Some things will not be figured out before Monday, and that is not a problem. The mind that arrived at this Sunday morning has been working on the unfigured things since they became unfigured, running them through the analysis, gathering what information is available, considering what options exist, weighing the risks and the possibilities, trying to arrive through sheer mental effort at the resolution that the effort has not yet produced, and arriving at Sunday with the things still unfigured. Not because the mind failed, because figuring out is not the mechanism by which some things get resolved. Some things are held, not figured out. Held by the God who does not need to figure them out because they are already known to him, already held, already being worked in ways that the person doing the working out cannot see because they are operating from inside the situation rather than from above it. And the appropriate response to the unfigured thing is not more effort toward the figuring, it is the releasing of the figuring to the one who holds. This is Sunday, May 10th, the last morning of the week's resting time, the morning before the week that begins tomorrow. And in the specific, quiet space of this Sunday before the Monday that will bring the unfigured things back into immediate contact, you came here, not to figure them out, to give them to the one who holds what cannot be figured, to receive the specific peace that comes not from resolution, but from release, from the decision to stop carrying what was never designed to be carried through a Sunday morning prayer and into a Monday that will ask for something different. His word declares in the book of Proverbs, chapter 3, verse 5 through 6, to trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your paths straight. Lean not on your own understanding. That is the specific instruction for the person arriving at Sunday with the unfigured things. The leaning has been happening since the things became unfigured. The mind has been leaning on itself, working the problem from every available angle, exhausting what the own understanding can produce. And the result is the same thing being unfigured now with the additional cost of what the leaning has spent. Lean not, submit, and the paths become straight. Not because the figuring is completed, because the way forward is established by the one who holds what the figuring was trying to produce through effort. Before we enter this prayer, write in the comments right now, Lord, hold what I cannot figure out before tomorrow. I give you the working, and I receive your peace. Write it as the transfer, the specific act of taking the unfigured thing out of the mind's working on position and placing it in the hands of the one who holds without the figuring. Like this video, as an act of choosing the held over the endlessly worked. Subscribe to this channel so we can begin every week together before the Monday that is coming has had a chance to present the unfigured things again from a position of immediate pressure. And share this prayer with someone whose Sunday is being occupied by the same unfigured things that occupied their Monday. What you send might be the releasing they needed before the week begins again. Now, let us give to God what the mind was never designed to resolve alone. Lord, my God and my Father, I come before you on this Sunday morning, and I bring the specific unfigured things, not the generic sense of carrying uncertainty, the actual specific things that have been in the interior since before they were unfigured, that the analysis has been working on without arriving at resolution. That will be present again on Monday in the full immediacy of the new week's demands. I name them. The relationship whose direction I cannot determine. The decision whose right answer I cannot arrive at through the weighing of options that keeps coming out unresolved. The situation that has variables I cannot control and dependencies I cannot predict, and an outcome I cannot produce through the force of my understanding. The question about my own direction that feels more urgent with each week that passes without the clarity arriving that would make the answering feel possible. These specific things, in the specific forms they have taken in my interior, I bring them here. I place them before you, not to receive an answer on Sunday that Monday will test. To receive the peace that comes from having given to the right holder what was in the wrong hands. Your word declares in the book of Philippians chapter 4 verse 7 that the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your heart and your mind in Christ Jesus. Surpasses all understanding. That word all is doing specific work. The peace surpasses not the limited understanding of less intelligent people, the all understanding, every form of understanding, every capacity for comprehension, every available framework for making sense of the thing. The peace is larger than the understanding that produced it, larger than the effort that generated it, larger than the figuring that was trying to produce it. And it comes not from completing the figuring, it comes from giving the unfigured thing to God. The peace that surpasses understanding arrives when the understanding is not the method being used, when the trust is the method being used. And the trust produces what the understanding, for all its effort, could not. Father, I want to pray about what the mind does with the unfigured things and why the doing does not resolve them. The working on has a specific structure. The mind identifies the problem, gathers what is known about it, considers what is unknown about it, generates possible resolutions, evaluates the resolutions against available criteria, finds the resolutions insufficient or the criteria inadequate or the unknown portions too significant for the evaluation to be definitive, returns to the problem, repeats. The loop is not useless. It is the appropriate method for problems that yield to its application. But not every unfigured thing is a problem that yields to working on. Some are mysteries. Some are situations whose resolution depends on factors that are genuinely outside the mind's reach. Some are questions whose answers will only become clear in the living of the life, rather than in the analyzing of it. And the mind that applies working on to a mystery produces exhaustion, but not resolution. The method is being applied to the wrong kind of thing. The releasing is not giving up on the unfigured thing. It is changing the method to match the kind of thing it is. The mystery is not a problem to be solved. It is a reality to be held. And the one who holds it is the one whose understanding is not limited to what can be known from inside the situation, who holds the full picture, including the parts that are genuinely unknown from the human side, in a way that produces from the holding the resolution that the working on could not reach. Your word declares in the book of Romans, chapter 11, verse 33 through 34, that the depth of the riches of the wisdom and knowledge of God, how unsearchable his judgments and his paths beyond tracing. Who has known the mind of the Lord? Unsearchable, beyond tracing. The understanding that holds the unfigured thing is not the understanding that the working on was trying to access. It is the understanding that surpasses what can be accessed. And the person who gives the unfigured thing to that understanding is not giving it to a slightly better version of their own analysis. They are giving it to an entirely different order of knowing. And I want to receive something from that entirely different order of knowing that changes how the unfigured things are held during the week. The person who knows they have given the unfigured thing to the unsearchable understanding is the person who can encounter new information about it during the week without immediately adding it to the working on loop. The new piece of information about the relationship is received as information to be given to the one who holds the relationship, not as new fuel for the analysis that was not producing resolution. The released person receives the week's new information about the unfigured things from the position of the trusting receiver rather than the working on agent. Each new development is given to God rather than added to the analysis. And the giving produces the peace that the analysis was spending and not returning. The cycle of taking in and giving away produces more peace than the cycle of taking in and working on. The giving away is the mechanism that keeps the peace from being displaced by the new inputs the week produces. Your word declares in the book of Proverbs, chapter 16, verse 9, that in their hearts humans plan their course, but the Lord establishes their steps. Plan the course with what is available. Give the establishing to the Lord. The releasing is not the abandoning of the course. It is the entrusting of the establishing to the one who was going to establish it anyway. And the person who entrusts the establishing before the Monday has come to claim it, enters the week from the position of someone who has already handed the most important part to the right person. Lord, hold what I cannot figure out before tomorrow. I give you the working, and I receive your peace. And Father, I want to ask for something about the experience of holding on Sunday morning before Monday arrives. Because Sunday is the specific day where the unfigured things press hardest. The week ahead has not yet arrived, but the mind has already begun imagining the week's encounter with the unfigured things. The Monday meeting where the unfigured decision will be asked about. The Tuesday conversation where the unfigured relationship direction will be navigated. The Wednesday that will arrive with the full weight of the still unfigured things in context of the new week's additional inputs. The Sunday mind, looking forward into the week, can catastrophize the unfigured things in a way the weekday mind cannot. Because on a weekday, the immediate demands provide some resistance to the catastrophizing. The inbox, the meetings, the tasks, they redirect the mind's attention from the unfigured things toward what is immediately required. But on Sunday, with the week's immediate demands absent, the unfigured things have the full space of the Sunday interior to expand into, and they use it. The releasing on Sunday morning is the specific act of resistance to the Sunday catastrophizing. Before the unfigured things have had the full Sunday to expand, before the Monday's imagined encounter with them has been rehearsed enough times to feel like the actual encounter, the releasing now. Before the expanding, before the rehearsing, your word declares in the book of Matthew chapter 6 verse 34 that do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. Each day, not each Sunday that imagines the full week's worth of trouble simultaneously. The Monday encounter with the unfigured decision will be the Monday encounter with what Monday has. With what God provides for Monday, not in the Sunday imagination of it, in the actual Monday, and the actual Monday will be navigated by the person who receives what Monday provides, which will be different from what Sunday is imagining it will require. Lord, I want to pray now about the specific peace that is available when the unfigured things are given to God. It is not the peace of resolution. That peace waits for the answer to arrive. It is available only when the figuring produces its result. And for the genuinely unfigured things, that peace has been unavailable for as long as the things have been unfigured, which may be a long time. The peace available when the unfigured things are given to God is different. It is the peace of the person who is no longer responsible for the figuring, who has given what was too large for human hands to hold alone to the hands designed for it, who is no longer the working on agent of a thing that working on cannot resolve, who has become instead the trusting receiver of what the one who holds the thing is already working toward. That peace does not require the resolution to arrive before it is present. It is present in the releasing. In the moment the hands open and the unfigured thing is given to God. The peace is available not because the thing is resolved, but because the responsibility for the resolving has been transferred to the one who has both the knowledge and the capacity to resolve it in the right way at the right time. Your word declares in the book of Isaiah chapter 26 verse 3 that you will keep in perfect peace those whose minds are steadfast because they trust in you. The perfect peace is the product of the steadfast trust, not the steadfast figuring, not the steadfast working on, the steadfast trust. The mind that is fixed on God, rather than on the unfigured thing, receives the perfect peace that the mind fixed on the unfigured thing cannot access regardless of how hard it works on it. Fix the mind on God today, not on the resolution that has not arrived, on the God who holds what has not yet been resolved. And from the fixed position, receive the peace that is already available to the person who stopped leaning on their own understanding and submitted to the one whose understanding is unsearchable. Lord, hold what I cannot figure out before tomorrow. I give you the working and I receive your peace. Father, I want to ask for something about the quality of the Monday that follows the Sunday releasing. The Monday that receives a person who released the unfigured things in the Sunday morning prayer is a different Monday from the one that receives a person who carried them intact. Not because the unfigured things are resolved by Monday, because the person carrying them is different. The person who released the unfigured things arrives at Monday with the peace that surpasses understanding, rather than the accumulated exhaustion of a weekend spent working on things that working on could not resolve. They encounter the Monday decision without the additional weight of 3 days of unsuccessful figuring behind it. They approach the Monday relationship without the rehearsed anxieties of a Sunday spent imagining how the conversation will go. They begin the week from the position of someone who gave the unfigured things to God and is entering the week as the person who trusts rather than the person who carries. That difference changes everything about the Monday, not what the Monday contains, how the person encounters what it contains. Your word declares in the book of Psalms, chapter 37, verse 7, to be still before the Lord and wait patiently for him. Do not fret when people succeed in their ways, when they carry out their wicked schemes. Be still, wait. The path to the resolution of the unfigured things passes through the being still rather than the continued working. And the Sunday morning that chose the still over the continued working arrives at Monday with what the still produced, a readiness to encounter the actual Monday rather than the imagined one. And I want to name something about how the released person approaches the unfigured things when the Monday actually presents them. Because the Monday will present them. The decision will still be unmade. The relationship will still be in its uncertain season. The question about direction will still be unanswered. The releasing did not resolve the things. It changed the person who will encounter them. The released person encounters the unfigured Monday thing with curiosity rather than dread. Not the dread of someone who has been carrying the thing's full weight through the weekend and who arrives at Monday already tired from the carrying. The curiosity of someone who gave the thing to God and is now watching to see how God is in it as the week reveals what the weekend was not able to show. What does Monday actually reveal about the thing? Not what Sunday imagined it would reveal, what it actually does. Your word declares in the book of Psalms, chapter 5, verse 3, that in the morning, Lord, you hear my voice. In the morning I lay my requests before you and wait expectantly. Wait expectantly. The Monday approach to the unfigured thing is the expectant approach. The approach of the person who gave the thing to God on Sunday and is now watching for what the God who holds it is doing with it on Monday. Not dreading, watching, expecting. The expectant person receives from the Monday what the dreading person misses. Lord, hold what I cannot figure out before tomorrow. I give you the working, and I receive your peace. And Father, let the releasing of the unfigured things produce something specific in the relationships this week will hold, because the person who is carrying the unfigured things brings them, invisibly, into every interaction of the week. The conversation that is about the meeting agenda is had by the person whose interior is partially occupied by the unfigured thing that is not on the meeting agenda. The relationship exchange that is about the present moment is processed through the filter of the unfigured thing's continuing presence in the interior. The released person is present to the actual conversation, to the actual relationship, to the actual moment of the actual week, rather than to the moment filtered through the unfigured thing's ongoing occupation. And the people in the week receive something different from the released person than they receive from the carrying person. The released person's full attention, their genuine curiosity, their actual presence in the exchange rather than their presence filtered through what they have not yet been able to resolve. Your word declares in the book of 1 Peter chapter 5 verse 7, to cast all your anxiety on him because he cares for you, cares for you. The releasing is received by the one who cares. The unfigured thing does not fall into a void when it is given to God. It lands in the hands of the one who specifically, personally, actively cares for the person who gave it, and cares for the unfigured thing itself, for its resolution, for the person whose life it is part of. For the outcome that the releasing was trusting him with, cast it. He cares, he holds, and the person who cast and is held by the carer enters Monday from that position. Father, as this prayer closes, I want to receive one more thing from this Sunday morning, the reminder that the unfigured things have company, that the person carrying them is not carrying them in isolation, that the specific named personal God who receives what is cast is already in the unfigured thing. Already working in the relationship whose direction is unclear, already in the decision whose right answer has not arrived, already in the situation with the uncontrollable variables, already there. Before Monday reveals what form the unfigured things will take in the new week, and the person who releases the unfigured things into the hands of the God who is already in them is not releasing them into uncertainty. They are releasing them into the specific, active, attentive care of the one who has known the resolution since before the things became unfigured, who prepared the resolution before the person encountered the problem, who is moving toward the resolution in the unfigured thing even now, even in the Sunday silence, even as the person is giving the things away in this prayer. Your word declares in the book of Romans chapter 8 verse 28 that we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. In all things. The unfigured things are not outside the all things. They are inside it, being worked by the God who works in all things for the good of the person who loves him. And the good that is being worked toward is not the person's preferred resolution. It is something larger than that. The good that God defines, which has been prepared for the person since before the unfigured things existed as unfigured things. The unfigured things are being worked toward good by the one who is already in them on this Sunday morning. Before the Monday arrives to test the trust, the working is already underway. The person is simply receiving the peace that acknowledges the working and rests in it. Lord, hold what I cannot figure out before tomorrow. I give you the working and I receive your peace. That is the declaration this Sunday closes with and this week begins from. The unfigured things are given to God. The working on has been exchanged for the trust. The peace that surpasses understanding is available to the mind that fixed itself on God rather than on the thing it could not resolve. And Monday arrives at a person who is not carrying the unfigured things alone, who is held by the one who holds what cannot be figured, and who enters the week not from the weight of what is unresolved, but from the peace of who holds the unresolved. To everyone who prayed with me this morning, go back to the comments and write it one final time. Lord, hold what I cannot figure out before tomorrow. I give you the working and I receive your peace. Carry that into Monday. When the unfigured things present themselves again in the week's immediacy, return to the giving. The thing is in God's hands. Let it stay there. Subscribe to this channel and come back tomorrow morning. We begin the week together, every week, before the unfigured things have had a chance to reclaim what the Sunday morning released. Share this prayer with someone whose Sunday is being occupied by the same things that occupied their Monday. What you send might be the releasing they needed before the week starts again. May the Lord hold every unfigured thing you brought to this prayer today with the full knowledge and active care of the one who is already in the resolution. May the peace that surpasses all understanding arrive in the place where the working on was happening and hold there through every encounter with the unfigured things this week produces. May the Monday that follows this Sunday releasing be the Monday of a person who trusts rather than carries. And may you discover somewhere in the week ahead that the things you gave to God on Sunday were already being worked toward their resolution before you arrived at the Monday that needed them figured out. In Jesus' name.